small wire accompanying the water service lateral is the grounding wire. Its purpose is to bond the water service lateral to the building's electrical grounding system. The wire is often made of bare copper. Its size conforms to local electrical codes. During installation, a grounding clamp connects the grounding wire to the water service lateral. The wire's other end then connects to the building's electrical grounding system. This is typically at the main electrical panel. The grounding wire provides a low resistance path. This path allows electrical current to flow in the event of a fault. This protects people and property from electrical shock and fire hazards. It's important that the grounding wire is only for the water service lateral. It should not be used for bonding other water system components. Examples of these components are water heaters and faucets. The grounding wire, as per code requirements, plays a crucial role in ensuring electrical safety related to the water service. Its proper connection to the main electrical panel is vital. Here's a further breakdown of grounding wire considerations. Firstly, material and sizing are important. The grounding wire is typically copper, chosen for its conductivity and resistance to corrosion in underground environments. Local electrical codes specify the correct size of the grounding wire. The size depends on the size of the service entrance conductors. Secondly, the connection method needs to be correct. A grounding clamp, often made of bronze or copper, is used to ensure a secure and corrosion-resistant connection to the water service pipe. The clamp must be listed and labeled for grounding purposes. Thirdly, the point of connection is important. The grounding wire must connect to the building's grounding system. This is typically at the main electrical panel. It can also connect to a grounding electrode conductor. This grounding electrode conductor then connects to a grounding electrode such as a ground rod or a metallic water pipe. Fourthly, the path to ground must be continuous. The grounding wire must have an uninterrupted path to ground. Any splices must be made using approved methods. This ensures low resistance. Fifthly, inspection and testing are required. After installation, it's important to inspect the grounding wire connection. This confirms that it is secure and properly installed. Electrical testing can verify the effectiveness of the grounding system. This testing involves measuring the ground resistance. Let's consider the National Electrical Code, or NEC, requirements. The NEC provides guidelines for grounding and bonding electrical systems. NEC Section 250 covers grounding and bonding requirements. It specifies the size and installation requirements for grounding conductors. It also addresses the bonding of metal water piping systems. The NEC mandates that metal water piping systems be bonded to the building's grounding system. This minimizes the risk of electrical shock. This minimizes the risk if the water pipe becomes energized due to a fault. Here's an example scenario. Suppose a fault occurs in an appliance. This causes the metal chassis to become energized. If the water pipe is not properly grounded, a person could receive an electrical shock by touching both the energized appliance and the water pipe. However, if the water pipe is properly grounded, the fault current will flow through the grounding wire back to the source. This trips the circuit breaker. This de-energizes the circuit. This minimizes the risk of electrical shock. In addition to protecting against electrical shock, grounding the water service lateral also helps to protect against fire. If a fault occurs in an electrical system, the fault current can generate heat. If the fault current flows through an ungrounded metal object such as a water pipe, the heat can ignite nearby combustible materials. However, if the water pipe is properly grounded, the fault current will flow through the grounding wire back to the source. This trips the circuit breaker. This de-energizes the circuit and minimizes the risk of fire. It's important to note that the grounding wire should not be used for any other purpose than grounding the water service lateral. It should not be used to ground any other electrical equipment or appliances. Doing so could create a dangerous situation. This dangerous situation could increase the risk of electrical shock or fire. If you have any questions about grounding the water service lateral, consult with a qualified electrician. They can assess the specific situation and provide guidance on the proper grounding methods. They will also ensure compliance with local electrical codes. In summary, the grounding wire for the water service lateral is a critical safety component. It protects against electrical shock and fire. It must be properly sized, installed, and connected to the building's electrical grounding system. Regular inspection and testing can verify its effectiveness. Following NEC guidelines and consulting with a qualified electrician ensures a safe and reliable electrical system. Here are some additional points to consider about the grounding wire. Firstly, corrosion protection is needed. Underground metallic components are prone to corrosion. Therefore, the grounding wire and its connections must be protected from corrosion. This can be achieved by using corrosion-resistant materials such as copper or bronze. It can also be achieved by applying a corrosion-inhibiting coating. Secondly, the grounding electrode system should be considered. The grounding electrode system is the primary means of connecting the building's electrical system to the earth. The grounding electrode system typically consists of one or more grounding electrodes. These electrodes can be ground rods, metal water pipes, or concrete-encased electrodes, often called UFA grounds. The grounding wire for the water service lateral must be connected to the grounding electrode system. This ensures that the water service lateral is effectively grounded. Thirdly, proper bonding of metallic water piping is critical. In addition to grounding the water service lateral, all other metallic water piping within the building must be bonded together. This bonding ensures that all metallic water piping is at the same electrical potential. This minimizes the risk of electrical shock. Bonding typically involves connecting all metallic water pipes together using bonding jumpers. These jumpers are sized according to the NEC. Fourthly, plastic water piping requires special attention. If the water service lateral is made of plastic, a grounding wire is still required. In this case, the grounding wire is connected to a metallic grounding electrode. This electrode is installed near the water service entrance. The purpose of this grounding electrode is to provide a ground reference for the electrical system, even if the water pipe itself is non-conductive. Fifthly, the grounding wire should be accessible for inspection. The grounding wire and its connections should be accessible for inspection and maintenance. This allows for periodic verification of the integrity of the grounding system. If the grounding wire is concealed, access panels should be provided. It's also important to understand the difference between grounding and bonding. Grounding is the process of connecting electrical equipment to the earth. This provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source. Bonding is the process of connecting different metallic parts together. This ensures that they are at the same electrical potential. Grounding and bonding work together to protect against electrical shock and fire. Both grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. Improper grounding or bonding can create a dangerous situation. This dangerous situation can increase the risk of electrical shock or fire. Therefore, it's important to ensure that all electrical systems are properly grounded and bonded. This includes the water service lateral. If you're unsure about any aspect of grounding or bonding, consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide expert advice and ensure that the electrical system is safe and compliant with local codes. Understanding grounding and bonding principles enhances electrical safety. Firstly, understand the purpose of grounding. Grounding provides a low resistance path for fault current. This minimizes voltage on metal parts. This in turn reduces the risk of electric shock. Secondly, learn about different grounding electrodes. Common electrodes include ground rods, water pipes, and concrete encased electrodes. Choose the appropriate electrode based on site conditions and code requirements. Thirdly, know the importance of bonding. Bonding connects metal parts to equalize potential. This prevents dangerous voltage differences. Fourthly, follow the National Electrical Code, or NEC. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding. Fifthly, inspect and test grounding systems regularly. Check for corrosion, loose connections, and proper resistance. Testing verifies the effectiveness of the grounding system. The water service lateral grounding wire serves as a vital safety component. Firstly, it protects against electrical shock. The grounding wire ensures that fault current flows safely back to the source. Secondly, it protects against fire hazards. Proper grounding minimizes the risk of arcing and overheating. Thirdly, it complies with electrical codes. Grounding the water service lateral is a requirement of the NEC. Fourthly, it protects sensitive electronic equipment. A good grounding system helps to reduce electrical noise and interference. Fifthly, it ensures the overall safety of the electrical system. The grounding wire is an integral part of a comprehensive electrical safety strategy. Let's explore some potential problems and solutions related to the grounding wire. Firstly, corrosion can be a problem. Corrosion can degrade the grounding wire and its connections. The solution is to use corrosion-resistant materials. Applying protective coatings can also help. Secondly, loose connections are a common issue. Loose connections can increase resistance and reduce the effectiveness of the grounding system. The solution is to ensure that all connections are tight and secure. Periodically checking and tightening connections is recommended. Thirdly, improper sizing is also a possibility. An undersized grounding wire may not be able to carry the fault current. The solution is to use a grounding wire that is sized according to the NEC. Fourthly, damage to the grounding wire can happen. The grounding wire can be damaged by physical stress or accidental digging. The solution is to protect the grounding wire from damage. Repair any damaged sections immediately. Fifthly, improper installation can lead to problems. Improper installation can compromise the effectiveness of the grounding system. The solution is to follow the NEC guidelines for installation. Consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions. Let's now discuss the inspection and maintenance of the grounding wire. Firstly, visual inspection is key. Visually inspect the grounding wire and its connections for any signs of corrosion, damage, or looseness. Secondly, check the tightness of connections. Ensure that all connections are tight and secure. Use a wrench to tighten any loose connections. Thirdly, measure the ground resistance. Use a ground resistance tester to measure the resistance of the grounding system. The resistance should be within acceptable limits. Fourthly, test the continuity of the grounding wire. Use a multimeter to test the continuity of the grounding wire. The grounding wire should have a continuous path to ground. Fifthly, document all inspections and maintenance. Keep a record of all inspections, tests, and maintenance performed on the grounding system. This documentation can be useful for troubleshooting and for demonstrating compliance with electrical codes. Grounding and bonding are not one-time tasks. They require ongoing attention. Electrical systems can change over time. Modifications, additions, or even environmental factors can affect the integrity of the grounding and bonding. Therefore, it's not just about the initial installation. Ongoing monitoring and maintenance is required. Firstly, perform routine inspections. Schedule regular visual inspections of grounding and bonding connections. Look for signs of corrosion or physical damage. Secondly, conduct periodic testing. Use instruments to measure ground resistance. Check the continuity of bonding jumpers. Thirdly, maintain detailed records. Keep track of all inspections, tests, and repairs. This documentation helps identify trends and potential issues. Fourthly, update documentation with changes. Whenever electrical modifications occur, update the grounding and bonding documentation accordingly. This ensures that the information remains accurate. Fifthly, train personnel. If you have staff responsible for electrical maintenance, provide them with adequate training on grounding and bonding principles. This includes identifying potential issues and knowing when to call a qualified electrician. Let's clarify some common misconceptions about grounding. Firstly, it's incorrect to assume that grounding protects against lightning strikes. While a proper grounding system can help dissipate some lightning energy, a dedicated lightning protection system is needed for comprehensive protection. Secondly, some believe that grounding is only necessary for sensitive electronic equipment. While sensitive electronics benefit from good grounding, it's essential for all electrical systems to protect against shock and fire hazards. Thirdly, some think that simply connecting to a metal water pipe provides adequate grounding. While a metal water pipe can be part of the grounding electrode system, it must meet specific requirements and be supplemented with other electrodes if necessary. Fourthly, it's a mistake to believe that ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, eliminate the need for grounding. GFCIs provide protection against ground faults, but they don't replace the need for a proper grounding system. Fifthly, some think that only a licensed electrician can work on grounding systems. While it's always best to consult with a qualified electrician, homeowners can perform some basic inspections and maintenance tasks such as tightening connections if they are comfortable and knowledgeable.